and welcome to Passe Gaming, Part 25 of Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age. Guns and I, your hosts, we're actually having a talk about if we were remaking a game. In this particular instance, we're talking about Final Fantasy VII. How would we do it? And if you listened to last episode, I would just ask Guns how he would do it, and he was about to answer. So now we can continue with that and hear what he has to say, because I'm very curious.
Here's my perfect remake of Final Fantasy VII. Okay. You obviously we know that they're modernizing the combat system, so it's not going to be a turn-based system, which is fine. While I do enjoy turn-based systems, they are a little antiquated. So you take it, the game that was released in fucking, I don't even know what year that game came out. 2000, 2001?
What, Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
Later? Hold on, I have it right here. I can look. If I can reach it. Holy shit.
Yes.
It's been 20 years since that game came out. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Alright, so you take the game that was released in 1997.
There you go.
You put it in... recreate it in the Final Fantasy XV game engine. So the graphics are all shiny.
So you would... So you're doing it... You're doing like a complete remake using newer technology. Okay. What else would you do? Well, I mean, like, but they're rebuilding it from scratch. So, that's a part of that's the difference between a remaster and a remake. Remakes, they always add, and change. It could be a completely, you know, they're going to make it more like the what is it, Advent Children and stuff like that, so it all makes sense. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Final Fantasy VII's one of its biggest shortcomings. It doesn't make a lick of fucking sense.
Well, Advent Children takes place after the events of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, but I think they're going to find a way so it makes, you know,
shoehorn.
Yeah, it better fits. You know what I'm saying? Like, where it's like, oh, well, everything fits all nice and neat now. Yeah. So you basically would do sort of what they're doing now, except you would try to not add anything that doesn't need to be added. You would do original story. What about the voices? Like the original voice? No, there was no voices. But shit. No. So would you add voices?
Yeah, I like voice acting. As a person who now semi-regularly broadcasts video games over the internet, voice acting is a fucking godsend. Because then I don't have to sit there and read shit and listen to myself drone on with text boxes. It just makes life easier.
Okay.
So yeah, voice act the fuck out of the game. Everything gets a voice act.
What about the music?
Don't need it. Like if there's an NPC and all they say is hi, fuck that. Give that dude a voice.
Alright, well, so what about the music?
I would do the Final Fantasy XII thing, where you've got, you know, the original music and then reorchestrated versions of it.
Okay.
Because I like that. Because I know there are people like, I watch a guy on Twitch sometimes, Agent TP. He's actually playing Final Fantasy XII right now with the original soundtrack. Oh, that's a whole thing.
Alright. So let me tell you what I would do. When I think like about re-releasing a game or doing a remake, in my head, I try to think of what made me enjoy the game so much, or what was special to me about Final Fantasy VII. And upon thinking, I realized that it's not just the story, because again, I've said multiple times, I don't think the story is all that strong to begin with. I find that it's actually the complete package. So it's still the turn-based fighting, it's still, you know, the music, the original music and all that stuff. Now, I don't mind I guess if I would remaster it, I would probably do the same thing they did with 12 and give you the option of playing either or. I would add voices, but I would leave the engine completely alone. Meaning it would be the same exact game. I would try to improve upon the camera angles because some of them are goofy, but I would keep it turn-based, because that's to me, that's Final Fantasy VII. And I think when you remake it into something different, it loses something. Isn't that the game to start the limit breaks and stuff? Like I feel like stuff like that you're losing. Because I don't know how they would do it in 15. It's not going to be the same. You know, same thing with the summons. All that's going to be different because you're using 15 combat and 15 engine as opposed to what 7 was doing. Well, I would try to recreate 7's engine as close as possible, but try to improve upon it.
Summons basically work the same way in 15 as they did in 7. Like, you call it in. The only problem with 15 is that, like, sometimes they're kind of random. Like, you can't just do it whenever you want. There has to be certain conditions that are met. But you call it in, and it does a thing, and it rates all the things, and then it goes away.
You see, I don't know, like, and same thing with the graphics. I would clearly go redo all the graphics, but I'm thinking, I think I would do it away. How do I fucking do the graphics? Obviously, I would improve upon all the models. I would basically just take 7, clean up all the graphics. I would try to, because I love the original. I still think the original backgrounds were really good looking. I would try to clean them up so they look good, even if that means recreating them. But I would try to recreate them almost exactly as they were, and I would try to recreate everything, but improve upon it. So like if I would release 7 again, it'd be almost the same as that game, except all the models would be cleaned up, and better looking. They would look good for a game released in 2017 or 18, whatever the year would be. It would look modern. But I mean, like, it would still be same presentation to a T. Like, if you watched the opening to Final Fantasy VII with the cutscene where, like, what do they call it, the Returners? No, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it the Returners? I thought they were in 6. Whatever. If you watch that cutscene, I would recreate that cutscene to a T, just with better models. Everything would be better, nicer looking, easier on the eyes. But I wouldn't change the game. Like, it would still be the same fucking game to the T. I might add a couple new things. Maybe like a new dungeon or a new area or something like off to the side, just so like old school players would be like, oh yeah, something new to do. Kind of like what they did with when they re-released 6 for the PSP. They released one of them handheld consoles, and they added in stuff that they took out originally, like the Geyser Dragon or the Kaiser Dragon or whatever the fuck it was. So it's still part of the original game, but it's new. That's how I would do it. Same thing with 6. If I had to remake 6, like, I tried wrapping my head around this before. How would you do that using a Final Fantasy 15 engine? I don't fucking know.
I don't know if you could.
I think the part of the problem with that is like I think it's impossible because like it needs it needs the same similar type of. Yeah, I don't think you could. See, I guess I would just do the same thing with that. Is re-release that game with all new graphics, but like everything remains the same. You know, and I actually would probably go with cartoon graphics, or maybe in the style of the artist. What the hell is his name? I can't remember his name.
They do cartoon graphics, and you get that fucking frumpy bullshit that fucking is on the fucking phone remake.
Yeah, well, I seen like but they did do a remake for Final Fantasy IV, and it looked good. And then when they did the 6th one, it was very like they tried cutting corners, and it just doesn't look good. And I think if you're going to do it, you have to do it all of it. You can't pick and choose. You literally need to remake everything on it. But just remake everything exactly the same way it was before. And I think that's a part of the problem with 6. I don't know if you can remake 6 and it's be something someone would want to play.
I'd play it.
I know I'd play it, and I think fans of it would play it. Some of the older guys would. I mean, maybe you could take 6 and... I mean, I guess you could do, like, cartoony graphics, almost like the chibi kind of characters they have in, I guess I would do it cartoony. Or I would do it, like, in a mix, kind of like how the game had it. It's hard to decide. Now, you know what? I wouldn't do it cartoony. I would do it... fuck. I would do it as close to the original vision of like what the Super Nintendo was going for, because that was dark. Everything was dark and very. I'm trying to stay with that art style, I guess. See, that's a game that's hard to remake. Like, how would you do it without changing who or what the game is about? Like some of the best battles in that game is when you took control of multiple parties. You could not do that with the Final Fantasy 15 engine. Like, and then all your party members would be doing all sorts of goofy shit on their own. Is that how 7's going to be? Does Barrett and does Tifa do their own thing while you just control Cloud? It's something you need to think about. Like, are you just controlling Cloud and everybody else, has their own presets like 15 has? I mean, a big part of what made 6 great was that every character played differently. Every character had character. So, for instance, and I brought this up before, 12, is that Final Fantasy 12, everyone could learn what everyone else... everyone can do what everyone else can do. So Van, you can make Van, Balthier, Fran, Bosch, Ash, Pinello, all the same exact character. Like, to a T. And all play the exact same way. Now, with the job system, they broke that up where, you can make it, they're a little more unique. But they're still all the same character. And the only thing that makes them different is their special, their missed ability. But even then, it doesn't make sense when they're like
they
they're
all
doing
have
these
different ability points, like inherent. Like, fucking Van is an all-around character. Bosch has a higher HP.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff makes it different. But I'm talking about, if you remember with 6, even 4 touched upon it lightly. But with 6, everyone can learn the same magic. Fine, whatever. But every character played differently. So Sabin had his martial arts, and that was his only he could do martial arts. And Cyan had sword tech, and like each character, like Sabin, you would have to put in different button combinations, like a yeah, it was nuts. And Cyan, you had to do different things, for him to do his sword tech. And then Edgar would use his tools, which are crazy and all sorts of neat, like drills and chainsaws and all, whatever. And everybody had their own thing that made them unique. So they had great personalities. Every character had its own personality. Every character had his own fighting style that made that character unique, on top of their own statistics and, stuff that most Final Fantasies do, where, Ash is a little better at magic, and Bosch also has more HP, and Fran has a little bit of this, and Bathier's better at this, but they had all those extra layers. And I don't think you could do that, or I don't think you could make a remake of that in using like a 15 engine and still capture all that. And actually, then when I think about it, I don't know if you can do that with 7. And I think people, I hope not, but I think people are going to get a mixed bag with this. Because if it's going to be anything like 15, because they're using the same engine, so it's going to be somewhat like 15, you're not controlling your party members. I mean, you're going to have as much control.
Using the same engine doesn't mean it's going to be like 15.
That's true. But I feel... that is true. But if they're not doing turn-based combat and you're only controlling one character, because that based on a little bit of gameplay they showed, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that you're not controlling the other characters like 15. Like, do you have any control over them, or they just do whatever the fuck they want?
Basic zero, whatever.
Yeah, see, I mean, I don't know. I feel that we're going to... I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's good. Trust me, I want it to be good. But I feel it's just going to be 15. Like, it's going to be stretched. I feel like they're going to take 7 and stretch it over 15. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, here, I don't know. I just get this feeling that, like, we're gonna, we're not gonna have control over the other characters, and it's gonna be a different game.
There's a secret part of me that wants it to fail, and if you don't agree with that stuff, not you specifically, but anybody who will.
No, maybe I have a bit of that too. But the problem is I don't. If it doesn't fail and it does good, and a game turns out to be a good game, then that opens up the opportunity for maybe 6 getting remade. I would love for that game to get remade or remastered. And I feel that if 7 doesn't do well, then that'll never ever happen. Because they were talking about doing 6. Like, they asked them, what game would you want to remake? And everyone in the office were like, we would like to remake 6. And to me, hearing that is like, wow, I'm not even the developers there would, appreciate that game. That'd be awesome to remake. So I want it to work, but I want it to be done right. I don't want it to lose. I don't want 7 to lose what makes 7 7.
You know what's gonna happen, right?
I feel the combat is a big part of that.
Like, if it does well, you're gonna get a plethora. Well, I can't even say a plethora, but there will be sequels, probably a spin-off. Fucking, like, 7 was the impetus of all that bullshit.
Well, yeah, 7 started all that bullshit with, yeah.
There's just Cerberus and fucking...
And then, like, that one where you run around as Vincent? Or
yeah,
that was oh, was that what... I never played it because it was dumb.
It was like a shooter, too.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck, but they were cashing in on that. They made so much money, they were like, let's do whatever we want.
Children, fucking Crisis Core...
But I mean, like, 7 may have started that, but I don't blame 7 for that. I mean, that's Square being dumb. It was going to happen eventually. All it took was them making money, a lot of money on one game, and they were like, fuck it, let's cash in on this. Because, like, 13, they made what, like 13-2, 13-1, and oh my god, why? It wasn't even well received in general, like any of them games. Like, why would that?
13 was a good game. Oh, I have to keep telling people this.
No one
13
liked
was a good game. It wasn't as good as other Final Fantasies, but was it a bad game? No.
That's a fair assessment. I didn't like it. I tried to play it twice. I couldn't get into it.
People, here is the retardedness of people, the loud majority of people that were playing Final Fantasy games at that time. Okay? So Final Fantasy X comes out and everybody loves it.
Yeah.
Except for me, because I know better.
I love 10.
Then
it's one of my top 3 favorites.
So people are like, we want games that's more like this. So they make Final Fantasy XII. Okay. Well, this game's too open. It's confusing. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so we'll do the opposite of that. 13 comes out. This game's too fucking linear.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Well, that was my problem. I found it overly linear.
Around in the open world. Shut the fuck up, you whiny ass bitches. Like, they gave you what you asked for, and you were like, no, we want something else. And then they gave you that, and you were like, no, we don't want this either.
Well, no, you're definitely right. Like, that comes down to being, like it's good to listen to the fans, but there's a point where you have to draw the line and be like, listen, you know, we'll pander to you a little bit, but like we can't, you know, change like our vision so much to the point where it's not our vision. I don't know. Like when I played 13, like the characters looked interesting, but it felt so. And I know the game opens up, a lot. I know the game opens up, but like the problem is, it's like, what's that?
Those characters were pretty terrible.
Were they?
Lightning was like almost interesting.
I just like the black guy with the chocobo in his hair.
Kind of cool, I guess. But, like, I like Snow up until he gets Shiva Cycle, and then I'm like, fuck you, you're an asshole. And it's not even his fault, but still, he's an asshole. Hope is the most annoying character in a Final Fantasy game ever.
More annoying than fucking what's his face?
Series. The most annoying character in any game.
Yeah. See that? I mean, that's.
Zaz is basically a racial stereotype.
I know. So is Barrett. I mean, that's Barrett.
That's it. Barrett is pretty bad. And I don't really remember. Like,
I just couldn't get into. I couldn't get into 13. I just couldn't. I tried. I remember putting it on. I just did not like it. And I tried to play it like a year or two ago. I can't get into it. And I don't last.
13 was so bad.
I think I got like 2 hours into it, and I just was like, something doesn't feel right about this game. And that's the only Final Fantasy I ever felt like that about.
The leveling system in 13.
So,
it actually reminded me of the one redeeming quality of 10. Which is weird. Everything else about 10 is shit. The story's shit, the characters are shit, Blitzball is shit.
Oh, I liked Blitzball.
Blitzball's fucking stupid.
Well, everyone's allowed to have their own opinion, but I loved 10.
Triple Triad in.
I love Triple Triad too. Well, what was that in 7? I know.
No,
8 had it too,
8,
didn't it?
And it was in.
God, I love that game.
14. And it was in. I feel like it was in something else. I'm gonna have to look it up. There's this weird thing in Diablo 3. If somebody on your friends list dies, it spawns a boss in your game.
Why?
I don't know.
That's kind of funny.
Triad.
Nobody heals themselves for some reason. Why is that? Yeah, I mean,
So apparently it was only an 8 and 14. And there's like a weird app on
I
phone.
loved the card game. Loved it.
Yeah.
The card game was a lot of fun.
Bandai made an actual triple triad set.
Yep. Go find out how much it is.
I don't want this.
It's so expensive. Your fucking face will melt if you knew how much money that they go for now.
Really?
Yeah, it's a shame.
Counterfeit versions exist.
What's that?
Counterfeit versions exist.
Oh, I'm sure. But they're counterfeits.
Triple triad, Final Fantasy, eBay.
You're probably not going to find it.
$299?
Oh, you did find it. Yeah, I mean that's on the lower end.
Set 1 through 90, Bandai FF Mint 500. 151 out of 182 cards. It's not even the whole set. $369.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
Yep.
For fucking almost $400? You better be giving me the whole set. $173 out of 182 cards. $599.
Go pay for it.
No.
Go
What
buy
am I
it right
gonna pay
now.
for this? $110 cards from Japan, $799. I haven't seen one that is a full set yet. And that's the only way I would ever buy one.
Yeah. And then, like, even if you have a full set, like, who are you going to play it with? I mean, I guess you're going to have to make a deck for another person?
Fuck you. I wouldn't play with anybody.
That's the thing, like, I don't know.
Just one card. Just one Gilgamesh card. $15.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Magic the Gathering is the same way.
Well, $1.99 for Laguna. Buy it for me for my birthday.
$1.99 for Laguna?
Yeah.
Sure.
Buy it for me for my birthday. Foil vanilla card, $50.
Oh my god.
It wasn't even that good!
Oh man, that
Now I
music.
kind of want to play Final Fantasy VIII. They should do
Yeah,
a remake of Final
yeah.
Fantasy.
You know what? I think the graphics actually aren't that bad in comparison to like 7.
I can't do it.
Oh really? That's probably I could probably play 8 again.
Still, like,
I don't think it looks that bad. Like the sprites at least look like something. They're not just like,
yeah,
you know.
they're not all blocky and weird.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Biggs and Wedge card, $8.
You're so excited.
It's awesome.
Alright. You and I have done this like a million times, but you know, our audience probably hasn't heard us. What is your top 5 favorite Final Fantasies? Is this in a particular order, or are you just going, you know?
No, it's gonna be 1 through 5. So Tactics is number 1.
That's your favorite Final Fantasy of all time?
Favorite Final Fantasy of all time.
Okay. Well, all right, go through it first, and then I'll ask questions afterwards.
Tactics, 6, 12, 14, and then probably Real 3. Real 3 is the one that has, where
The job system.
you level up. This is the job system. Which one? Is 5 the one where you level up based on doing stuff?
No. 5 is the one you level up based on doing stuff. No. 3 is the one where you level up based on doing stuff, and 5 is the job system.
Hold on. I can actually figure this out really easily. They released it.
It's whatever one never got released in the United States, because one of them hasn't yet. Or it just got released recently.
I'm going to an emulator website on my PlayStation. So look up PSP ROM. My shit randomly shuts off.
Wait, you're looking at PS2 ROMs?
PSP.
PSP ROMs.
Yeah.
2. Wait. 2?
It can't be 2.
Let me look at this. It's either 2 or 3. Alright, you're not helping me. Okay. We'll just look at Final Fantasy.
What the fuck?
Definitely not 3.
Which one's the one with the job system?
That's 3. This is the first appearance of the Onion Knight.
Fuck it, I don't feel like going back and doing that.
Two is Assyrian. That's the one I'm thinking of, right? Assyrian, Maria, and Guy. Yeah, Final Fantasy II is the one where you do stuff. You get better by doing it.
And that's... So, why is Tactics your favorite game?
That's the best one.
Why is it the best one?
The story is amazing. The music is great. The graphics hold up. When I played Tactics, I was kind of looking for something different. From the typical like RPG blah that was, you know, coming out at the time. A lot of role-playing games at that time were the same.
Yeah.
And then
well, after Final Fantasy VII did so well, everybody wanted to be a Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And then this weird strategy game came along, and like the art style was like very different from most Final Fantasy games that were around. and like they bothered to like explain about like the world and stuff through like this like block like wall text like cutscenes and shit. And the story was very intricate. I remember getting to a point in that story where I was like, "What the fuck? How the fuck did any of this happen? What is going on?" Like, there's so many twists and plot holes, and like, it's just, I don't know, it's interesting. And then it had the job system, which is fucking fantastic. I don't think I got all the jobs the first time I played the game. I think I made everybody a knight and like muddled through the game.
I played that game to death.
Yeah, it's. I remember me and Brian Donald spent an entire summer playing that game, and we would literally pass the controller back and forth, like not different battles, but like almost every single turn. Like he would have a character, and I would have a character, and we would grind out like fucking random fights so we could level up our characters and pass the controller back and forth.
It's
Such a good game.
yeah, it definitely is. You have a lot of passion for it too. Plus, you know, you don't love it just because it's the first game I played. You know, you love it because you have, you know,
definitely was. I've been
in-game reason and like, you know, personal reason too, which is, you know, what I like to hear when I hear people say why they love something. You know, I love it for this.
Years.
So
in any industry, you would be considered a luminary and a professional without peer after 30 years.
I know. Except gaming.
Yeah, well, I don't get paid for it.
Yeah.
That's giving my fat ass. It's because I love playing games.
Why do you like Final Fantasy II so much?
Because, again, it was different. Like, you weren't just leveling up because you reached some stupid number of experience points. I didn't play Final Fantasy II until like I was like playing on PS2 and shit.
Yeah, because it came out. Yeah.
I didn't get to play it until it was emulated. But like it was different. Like, you know, tactics. Like you actually had to like go out and do shit to make your guys stronger. Which is something I loved about like Ultima Online. Like the more you did a certain thing, the better you got at it.
Yeah, that's what I liked about Quest for Glory. You have to like climb a tree 1,000 times in order to, you know, to level up your tree climbing ability, your climb ability.
Or like fucking OG EverQuest, where like you would see dudes like swimming in circles for hours so they could level up their swimming.
That was like the true grind back then. Don't see that shit anymore. So, okay. So you had it was Tactics. You had Final Fantasy 2. You had 6 on there. What did you like about 6? I mean, it's no.
It's a good story. I didn't take the time to level all the characters out like you did.
Well, that's fine. I don't, you know, that's.
But
it's me being weird.
The story's great. Kafka's. Whenever anybody asks, like, who do you think the best bad guy in a video game is? Captain Milano. He's less than that.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten enough. Well, I'll do that when I go through my games. I'll explain those bits. And what else?
Actually, a couple of days ago, somebody asked that question in a Twitch stream, and I said Kafka, and everybody was like, "Who is that?" And
oh Jesus! I would have just left. you fucking people. Yeah. What else was on that list? Oh my God! Well, the opera scene. I still cry every time I fucking see that scene. I'm a fucking full-grown man. Yeah, I get feels for whatever reason. I'm like,
What was
why?
it? Tactics 6, 12, and then Final Fantasy 14. That game is so fucking good. For an MMO, oh, so good. And with the most recent expansion that came out, they included a dungeon that has throwbacks to Final Fantasy VI.
Oh, that's cool.
So, like, you go through the dungeon and, like, one of the bosses you come up to is the Magna Rotor.
I do not remember the Magna Rotor.
He's the weird dude. He's got, like, the wheels and shit for, like, feet. He, like, tries to run you over.
This is probably just further proof of why I need to play that game again. It's been too long. I don't remember.
They're upcoming. They're including a Final Fantasy Tactics game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Alright.
Super good.
What, Tactics?
No, 14.
I gotta play. I still haven't played it. I own it. That's why I own 14.
Surprised with how good it was.
I may or may not. I tend to own all the Final Fantasies. I think it's the only one I don't own.
Yeah.
All my games are packed up, so I can't even fucking look. Alright, I'll go through mine. So my first being Final Fantasy VI. That was obvious. My second favorite Final Fantasy would probably be... I'll have to say 10. I know you're gonna groan. My third favorite would probably be... I'm really enjoying this game.
Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy 10.
I'm enjoying this game, but like I feel like I need to finish it before I can add it on to any list officially. So I'm gonna say my third favorite would probably be. I'm gonna say I have to say Tactics. Fourth would probably be 8, and then fifth would probably be 2. Or 4. Sorry. So that would be 6. That'd be 6, 10, Tactics, 8, and 2.
4's a good one, but the game as a whole kind of drags on.
It does.
There's moments in 4 that are great.
Oh yeah, and I completely 100% agree with that. Again, 4 for me, I love 4 as that was like the first real. It's not the first RPG I've played, but it was the first time I've ever got emotionally and like I really got caught up in the story and in the characters, and I just felt because like you would get a little bit of that in like NES RPGs, but not like I did with Final Fantasy 4. I was like,
yeah,
that just completely devoured me. Yeah, the game drug on way too long. Not a little too long, way too long. Some of it was convoluted. It wasn't the best. I wouldn't rate it the best. If I was rating it the best, it'd be far lower. It was good though, and I enjoyed it. It was a solid game, and that's pretty much all I needed at that time. And you know, I still have a special place in my heart for it. Now, I do have to put the disclaimer out there that I would probably say that 12 is very likely to steal that spot. Because I'm really enjoying this game. Yeah, it's really likely that's what's going to happen. For Final Fantasy VI, for me, I loved everything about it. Like, I think it was the previous episode I talked about the combat system was one of the and I still talk about it constantly today. Something I love about that game. Combat system was fantastic. All the different abilities every character had made it feel unique. And I noticed in some RPGs, a lot of RPGs, let's be real, some characters are better fleshed out than others. This game not only fleshed out their characters really, really nice, but they also went so far as to give them all things, in-game things to make them unique, like the way they fight. Plus, it all made sense. I noticed, at least with 12, like their missed abilities don't make a lick of sense. I don't. Why are they exploding universes and stuff? I feel like it's just there because. I feel like it's just there because they're like, it's Final Fantasy. Hey, one of those deals.
They need to be doing super cool shit.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. They just stuffed it in there because they're like, it needs to be in here because it's a Final Fantasy thing. Whatever, that's fine. It doesn't take away from the game. It's just, I scratch my head and I'm like, well, why the fuck are they doing this? A lot. Because of nowhere, even 10, and I know you don't like it, explain why Titus is using this move, or why everyone had a reason why they're doing their particular moves, or fighting with whatever weapon they fought with. This game, they're just like, here, and they just tossed it out there, and whatever, it's fine. That's what made 6, like, their characters, like, you like them all, they're all interesting, except Gayu. I think it's Gayu. He always irked me just because he's like a weird little feral child. I had a hard time, getting into him as a kid, because like he was just a weird.
He's the strongest character in the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he gets all the fucking cool monster abilities. He's an awesome character. It's just, and like as an adult, I can sit there and be like, I can appreciate him.
Yeah.
I still don't like him. I'm like, he's way too weird. But like, they're all still strong characters. They made Moogles great. The story is just, like, the story is great all the way through, and Kefka is one of the greatest villains ever. And I know people are like, no, Sephiroth is, he was cool, but like, okay, he was cool. Kefka wasn't cool. What made Kefka great is that you hated him for being a pure dick, for no other reason other than being a dick. Because I know, like, a lot of people like to have their villain have some tragic story as why they're this way, or you don't see them anymore where they're just dicks to be dicks. Kefka was a dick.
That's what I tell people when I explain, like, why was he a bad guy? He was just a fucking.
He's just a psycho.
Schizophrenic.
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's that. Like, I understand, like, I understand it, like, that was an early early concept for bad guys were just bad because they were bad, and then they started giving them reasons why they were bad, and now there's like a whole bunch of different types of bad guys. Like, some are bad, because of this happened to them, and some don't think they're bad and they think they're doing the right thing and saving everyone, but they really are bad. They have all these different, like, they don't do the I'm bad because I'm bad anymore. And I know a lot of people, like, nowadays, they're like, well, that's not interesting. Sure it is. He's, like, not only that, but he's, like, the only Final Fantasy villain that won. I mean, let's be real. He destroyed the entire planet, became a god, and then you get separated from all the rest of the other characters, and you have to travel the world and collect them all again, and they're all, it's been like a couple years, they all went off and did their own thing, and they're all living their own lives, the whole world is shit, and everyone's just barely surviving. And even after they defeat him, you have to wonder, the world is still shit, and they still have to rebuild a ruined world. Like, it didn't just heal itself and go back together, like, oh, everything's nice now. That didn't happen. Like, it's still a ruined world. That was more like they were avenging the world, for what happened. It was a really interesting concept, and and I can't think of any other games modern or past, to have done something like that since. Can you?
No.
Like, I can't think of anything. Like, yeah,
But
I can't think of anything.
You have to fight him with Jesus 3 times.
Oh my god! And all of his different versions of him, like they were like one where he was on like a cross, and it was very very anti-religion. Yeah, it was awesome though. It was God, it was such a good game.
Hey, why are you destroying the world? Because I can.
More or less, you know, it was really just, you know, a psychopath got an incredible amount of power, and then he did exactly what you would think a psychopath would have done.
He's essentially the Joker.
Yeah, he is. He's what would happen if the Joker got magic, like all the magic in the world. Yeah.
Oh my god. Did you? I don't mean to derail this conversation.
No, that's fine.
But I have to break your heart for a minute.
No, you don't.
Yeah, no, I do.
No!
So, you know how Scott Snyder's running things in DC right now?
Yeah.
So, because they rebooted everything again, Batman's apparently going to be a metahuman.
Oh no! In what? In Justice League?
In the comics.
Oh, thank God! I stopped reading. The comics are trash.
I mean,
it doesn't make sense. Listen, God. Well, you know, the few people that listen, who decide to go back and listen to these episodes. Listen, I know right now comic books and comic book movies and all that jazz is the bee's knees. Everyone loves it. Everyone's having a good time. You know, we're all enjoying the Marvel movies and TV shows. You know, we're enjoying it all. But I have to say, there is a victim in all this, and I don't think anybody realizes, but the comics have gone to complete shit. Marvel and DC, I don't think they know what the fuck they're doing. And I think a part of the problem is like they're trying to pander to the younger crowds by hyping everything up, and then they alienate their older readers. And I guess maybe their older readers aren't spending the money anymore anyway, so they don't really care if they lose them. Like there was a point where what the fuck is his name? Commissioner Gordon was Batman.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon was Batman. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the modern age. And I've had this argument with multiple people. I don't like taking characters and changing them because of you know, like when they made Iron Man like a little black girl.
They didn't make Iron Man a little black girl.
Well, she became the new Iron Man.
She's not the new Iron Man. She's just an iron person. But it's fine. They need her since they killed off James Rhodes. So.
When did they do that?
Just recently. And actually, apparently the Punisher is going to be the new War Machine.
It just feels like... Oh, Jesus. It just feels like they are doing stuff now. I don't even know how to... I don't know.
They killed off Bruce Wayne, too.
Yeah,
or not Bruce Wayne, Bruce Banner. Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, and now he's an Asian Hulk.
Whatever.
But, like, like, there was only one Hulk, so how can there be now Asian Hulk? Like, I just feel that, like, they're...
Apparently, he learned how to become the Hulk through, I don't... Fucking the guy or the kid who was the Hulk on Amadeus Cho is, like, one of the 10 smartest people, you know, on Earth.
Yeah.
So, like, he figured out how to become the Hulk, like, through science or whatever.
I just feel like,
And then they were like, oh, well, we made this younger, hipper Hulk to appeal with younger audiences, so, Hawkeye shoots Bruce Banner in the face with a fucking gamma arrow.
Well, see, like that, like, but not only that, but I feel like they're doing that, and they're also, I feel like it's because they want to pander to, I don't know. I just feel like they're like, well, we want to be super PC, and you know, everyone has a superhero, and I get that. But I'm of the mind of like, I would like to see new superheroes. Like, can we have a new Asian super smart superhero that does something cool? Like, why did we have to get rid of established superheroes or change established superheroes? And I understand, like, some people are like, well, maybe they died off. Maybe they got old and they can't do it anymore. Like, Peter Parker's now, like he's old and getting ready to retire. Now there's, like, what's the new black kid's name?
Morales.
Yeah. But why does he have spider powers? Like, it doesn't make sense. And they come up with some lame excuse just so that way they can, you know, get their minority or whatever into the. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Make a new superhero.
Miles was around before they started doing this like minority thing.
I know. Well, was he though? When did he start?
Ultimate.
Ultimate Universe. Well, their Ultimate Universe is fine. Everything's all flipped up over.
The Ultimate Universe doesn't exist anymore.
Nuts anyway, but I don't know. I just feel like they're. I get it. I understand, like, some people are like, you know, we want a superhero and we want our own character or whatever, but it doesn't make sense to me to take established characters and then change them, like, oh, let's make Iron Man a broad. Like, I'm just saying, like, even though, you know, I'm just saying, like, God, and I'm sure this is an unpopular fucking opinion, but like that's like.
They did that before, like, though, like they came up with the black girl, because like for a while, what's her face was taking it like in place of Tony Stark. Pepper, he was rescued for a while, and then people were like, fucking Tony Stark. So they brought, you know, Tony Stark step back into the suit.
Yeah.
And then the same thing kind of, it seems like, happened with, like, the new black college girl. Like, you know, she was going to be the new Iron Man or whatever. And everybody was like, but Tony Stark. And then they were like, okay, well.
But see, that's the thing. Like, all right, so the fans stopped it, you know, because they're like, that's dumb, because Iron Man's Iron Man. I don't understand why the comic companies, because Marvel's super guilty of doing this, but don't get me wrong, DC's been tiptoeing in that direction as well, you know, because I guess they feel like they need to be like Marvel now. But Marvel's, I mean, listen, Marvel makes great movies, great TV shows, but Marvel has literally sold their soul to so many different companies to stay alive back in, like, the early 2000s.
They completely killed off the Fantastic Four in their comics.
Yeah, well, that was out of, you know, that was out of spite, you know, because they won't give them back their license. But it's like, listen, you guys did that because you were broke and had nowhere to go. So don't get mad when they don't want to give it back. I don't know what to tell you. And then you get bought out by Disney, you know.
That was a good move, though.
It was, but like now, like even Disney World, you go to Disney World now, it's Marvel stuff all over the place. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, the way comics are going now, it just feels like they feel like they have to pander to everybody. Like, let's just make a new original characters. Man, I'd be down for a new anything. You know, like, I like the idea of Girl Robin. That was neat. And it makes sense in the comics because, you know, Robins get older. And they grow up and they move along. Like, when Stephanie Brown was Robin, I was like, that's cool. You know, but they're like, oh, let's kill her. And, you know, and then and then have Bruce Wayne have a random clone son. And now he's the new Robin. Like, I hate it. I hate Damian Wayne with a passion.
Damian Wayne.
Yeah, it's silly. I would have taken Stephanie Brown over Damian Wayne any day, or even Tim Drake again. But now he's running around as Red Robin because I guess he doesn't want to. don't fucking know. I don't know what they're thinking anymore.
All the Robins want a Nightwing.
Well, he doesn't. Like, his whole thing. So, and I think comics are losing sight of that. And I've another argument I've had with other comic geeks is that everyone who wants to get into comic books feel intimidated because they're like, oh, there's 50 years of previous comic book stuff knowledge that I don't know, and I don't, I can't go out and buy that $600 comic to find out what happens. But when I started reading, it was already like 40 years ahead of me of Batman history. Yeah. And like whenever something happened, whenever they referenced something that happened previously, they would put like a little, and oh, check out this issue, and then they would, and then you would go and check it out. Or if you could, I mean, even if you couldn't, we have the internet, we can look it up, we can read about it. Done, you just did, or read it on the internet. I mean, you live in the information age. It's not hard to go back and read that fucking issue. I don't know why, like, everyone feels the need to hit these reset buttons, simplify everything, so that way new people feel more comfortable coming into it. I mean, you don't have to. You can keep something going and keep like the same, like for instance, when they did the New 52, they squished everything down and it made Bruce Wayne young again, because like he was in his mid-30s in comic time, and then they made him in his late 20s. So I'm like, okay, so how did he find time to have Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown? Like, how did he find time to squeeze all them Robins? Because he didn't become Batman until he was in his early 20s. So I don't know. I just feel like it's the pandering. And when the New 52 came out, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's still good stories that are worth reading. I'm not saying that's not the issue here. What I'm saying is, like, I felt like I was forced out of comics because they want to make room for all these new people who are interested. It didn't feel like they ever. That didn't feel like something they did before.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It could just be me, but like I said, it's. And I understand, like, especially nowadays, like, all the artists want to put their own mark on everything, and where they're, all the editors and story writers or whatever, they all want to be like, we want to make this ours. How can we do that? I guess you do it by, I don't know. Oh shit, I didn't mean to delete that. You rat bastard! I get it. Everyone wants to put their mark on the character, and they all want to do like their own shocking, amazing, like, oh man, this would be awesome if this happened kind of story. Yeah. But I just feel that, like, I think that's what's ruining it. Like I remember there was a time where like you would buy they would be like, all right, you know how they have like little mini stories where like it'd be like 3 to 6 issues of like one story arc. In between those issues, there would be one-offs, like a couple one-offs where like he would just be doing normal detective work, and there'd be another one where Batman's maybe just hanging out. Like X-Men did this really good too. Like I remember there was an issue of X-Men where they literally just hung out by the fucking pool all day.
So dumb.
And they had fun.
So stupid.
Why?
What it did is it was a waste of fucking paper.
See, I liked that. I always felt that gave you more time to get to know the characters. It added more.
It was just an excuse for a bunch of pervy old dudes to draw fucking comic book characters in skimpy bathing suits. Like,
well, that could be too.
If Batman's doing detective work, all right, cool, I get it. Like, but fucking an X-Men pool party serves zero purpose.
But I mean, like, there was like Superman has them too, where like he just sits around and like talks with other characters. Like I like them slow issues where they build character. Yeah, I guess you're basically right with the X-Men thing. But I mean, like, X-Men did have issues where they just not a lot happened and they just did a lot of talking and hanging out. Like I remember Wolverine, like him and there was a couple issues where him and Jubilee were just hanging out. You know, there'd be a little bit of action, but there was a lot of hanging out. And I feel like that made the character so much more relatable and interesting, and like I loved those issues. They were few and far between, but they were there. You don't see that at all anymore. It's always one arc after another arc, and that was the same thing with villains. You wouldn't see some villains for a while. Like I remember there was like you wouldn't see the Joker for 2 or 3 years, and then when he popped up, you were like, "What? Some shit's going down." Now you see the Joker like every third story. But you know, and like the same thing with any character, like villain, they would pop up once in a while, so it made it more impactful when a villain popped up. And then they would have like these weird like nobody villains like pop up where like, you know, they get thrown in the slammer, you never see them again. Who cares? Because they were just regular villains that you would see. And then like the big ones like the Rogues Gallery would pop up once in a while. But like literally every single story nowadays has to be like the end of the world. You know what's going to happen next, and it has to be with one of the big, you know, Rogues Gallery characters, and it just feels like it's not special anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I the only one that thinks that?
As a guy who basically only reads trade paperbacks, I can't really comment on this.
That's fair. That's fair.
Everything I read is like fucking, you know, an end of the world fucking event.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, it's typically the best of the best too.
Yeah,
and I love trade paperbacks.
I don't appreciate those little, you know, one-off stories or whatever. But you know, I didn't read comics for like fucking 20 years, so there was a lot of shit that like, you know, went on that I had to catch up on. And I was like, I'm just gonna read trade paperbacks.
Yeah, that's completely fair. My one buddy who, you know, they go to Comic-Con like a lot. I was talking about him earlier. He and his girlfriend, you know, they I don't think they buy comics. They have an enormous library of. When you go to the comic store and you see a wall of trade paperbacks, that's basically their living room. You know, and that's how they read your stuff, which is cool. Well, I guess they do collect comics because she bought a whole bunch off me. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like maybe this is a part of getting older and I'm out of touch when it comes to like comic books. It just feels like they're not making them for me anymore. That's the best way I can put it. And that's fine, I guess. Whatever. It's just like all this goofy shit that goes on nowadays makes me really dislike the characters.
I mean, it's no different from when our parents would sit there and be like, how can you listen to this music all the time? It doesn't sound like anything. Like, it's just fucking time.
Maybe, because my mom wasn't like that. She listens to modern music, plays modern games, and I always thought, like, I'd pick that up from her, and, I mean, some of it I did, but, like, some of it I didn't. Some of it, very much like my father, where it comes to, like, I don't understand some modern things. Like, I don't get it. I don't know if it's because... Is it because I'm out of touch, or is it really just stupid? Like selfies. Selfies are fun. Like when you have a group of people and you take a picture of you and them, and we're all posing in front of the camera, and someone holds it up. That's fun. But like, I don't understand why broads will take 1,000 of them by themselves, like just because.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a girl thing. I mean, you don't have cell phones, so I guess you don't have to you never had that urge to worry about.
And even if I did, I still wouldn't take 1,000 pictures of myself.
Yeah, I mean, I hardly have any. Actually, I sometimes have to ask Robin to take pictures of me, so I'm like, you know, some of my fucking goofy ass kids can look back on at some point. I don't know. getting older.
If I didn't come over to your house, nobody would ever take a picture of me, and I'm 100% okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a picture of you sleeping from almost every year, and a picture of you giving me the finger from,
Yep.
like 10 years worth of getting the finger. More or more.
10 years worth of sleeping in fingers.
Yeah, there you go, Mike. That's what we were all waiting for. I guess that's one of the reasons why even the channel's called Passe Gaming, because, what's passe mean? It means no longer fashionable, out of date. And I kind of feel this way. Not that I ever was, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm out of the know. Even like with games, some games I still, but like we had fun with the Call of Duties and stuff but I can't go back and play them anymore. I just, I'm surprised people still do. Same thing with Madden. How the fuck are people still going back and playing that game? I thought that was done and over with. Like, who fucking knows?
Games are like the one thing that I still like actively go out of my way to keep in touch with. Like, I've given up on music, and most of the stuff I listen to is just fucking like a 90s playlist on Spotify. I know about movies because a lot of it just like kind of bleeds into like, gaming culture and stuff. But like I fucking actively work to like learn about upcoming games and what's going on and new shit. But it's becoming too much work.
Hold on, let me stop you right there, because that's actually a great topic. Now I want to talk about that, but let me end this this broadcast. We'll be right back. I try to keep these 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm a little bit over. We're getting close, because I do see someone's actually watching. Hello there. Yeah, we'll be right back. I don't know.